So, getting back to the point of evangelization, 4 days of Depression 101, 102, and then the third world people started talking, and it really brought a sense of hope, creativity, imagination. Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines, who's really a wonderful man. Thank God he's one of the presidents of the Synod coming up. He spoke about the need for silence in the process of evangelization. And there were little things, little jewels. Everybody had a voice. Once in a while you'd have somebody come in and say, get their little point in, because it's a free speech. Pope Benedict was tired at that synod. I can't wait to see Francis's role at this synod. I think it's going to be much different than the past 2 synods I've been at, because he's hands-on. The questionnaire that you saw came from that meeting. They presented some questions there, and you can tell, for those of you who have studied any form of scripture, you know about the different hands that are at work, or any form of literary criticism. So right away when I saw the questionnaire came out, and being a professor of scripture, I said, oh, I see a couple different hands that are at work here. The whole section on natural law, very philosophical, theological, which the results have shown that people don't know what that means. But what's been the most provocative section of the questionnaire that's caused some consternation for people, but it got people talking? The most provocative part is the last part. What do you do with the children of these couples? How do we evangelize them? Cardinal Wuerl and others have told me those are the questions the Pope said have to be in there. The Pope is a pastor. He's concerned with the reality. It's one thing to live up here. It's another thing to be concerned with the people that are there on the ground. So when we talk about this concept of evangelization and new evangelization, keep in mind 3 points. The first point, always be aware that in your very midst, in our midst here, you don't have to go to the third world or the Muslim world or whatever, Korea, there are many people who have not yet heard about Jesus. Who will go? Unless someone is sent. Who is going to go to them? You know the beautiful words of St. Paul in his letter there. Somebody has to be sent. The second point is those who have gone away from the church for a variety of reasons. And be very careful about this particular group too. I think we have to be very prudent. Because a lot of us, in our attempt to be in solidarity with such people, oh, those poor, they left the church because of this, or because of that, or because of this issue. All the different problems that arise. Oftentimes when I hear that, in my own family I hear it, I say, what did the Pope do to you? You made choices to live like that. Did the Pope interfere? Right away that quiets them down. No, he didn't. I said, so we are sitting ducks at times. We take all kinds of heat. Take it. But also realize that people make choices, and it isn't all our fault. Then, of course, you have the scourge of sex abuse, which has shaken us to the core and brought us to our knees. However, that also can be used as an excuse. Clergy, abuse, bishops covering up and everything else, it becomes a mantra. I have a brother who's a police officer, and he brings this up all the time. So once you settle him down, I say, what's the real issue here? How many priests do you know that were involved in that? Or bishops that you know that were involved in it? None. So, while my friends talk about it, why don't you talk about those priests who have been significant in your life? Don't talk about me, your brother. Talk about priests who have been significant. So just be careful in listening to all of that. And also for those who have become tired and who have looked elsewhere. Because nowadays spiritualities are very cheap, and they're very quick to find, especially with Google. You can find anything you want. And Pope Francis, just in the past 2 days, has talked in the morning homilies about the cross. Do not deny or erase the cross. This morning's homily is on the Vatican website. It's on the Vatican radio website. It's very, very beautiful, just about that sinfulness and the cross. Those are the things of which we boast. We don't boast about anything else, we boast about those things. So, the new evangelization. We are all agents of that. You have to have trifocals in order to be an agent of the evangelization. Those who have never heard, those who have heard, and have gone off for a variety of reasons, and those who need the flame to be revived. And we all have to be revival experts. You know, we all have to be there giving those paddles once in a while. One of the titles that's been given to Francis, which I really love, came from the French world, is that Francis is the defibrillator Pope. is a very appropriate image. One of my other sisters is a doctor, so I checked this out with her to make sure I got the stuff about the paddles correct. Defibrillation is given when there's a blockage of heart vessels and the proper energy cannot get through, which causes suffocation and death. And therefore, when you put the paddles there, and you give somebody that electroshock, Francis is the electroshock, the spiritual electroshock that's needed when we have all kinds of problems that we call cholesterol, blockage of arteries, heaviness, not enough exercise. Apply that to the spiritual language, and you'll be very surprised how effective it can be.